So this is a tough pill to swallow, but if you're just starting out as a new or beginner content creator, then you're probably going to fail. I know that sounds a bit harsh, and I really don't mean you personally, but statistics say that you'll probably fail because the majority of new content creators don't get past the first few hurdles and end up giving up. And right at the beginning, when you're just starting out on the content creator journey, there's a lot of friction, there's a lot of obstacles to overcome, and there's several traps that you can fall into. And today I want to talk about the top 4 content traps that I think new content creators make that keeps them stuck in their own head and stops them from moving forward. So the first content trap is something I think we all fall into at some point, especially right at the beginning, and it can stop us dead in our tracks, keep us trapped in our own heads forever, and we'll never move past it. And that's worrying about what other people will think about our content. This one is so easy to fall into. I've been there myself. When I first started out, I bought a camera, I bought the lighting, I set up a studio space, and then I went a full year without even hitting record on the camera because I was so worried about how I'd come across and what people would think about my videos. And it's totally understandable. You're talking to a camera, you're expressing yourself, you're putting that out there to the big wide world for a bunch of people to see that don't know you. It's really normal to feel vulnerable, to feel worried about what people are going to think. But here's the thing, they don't know you, and in reality, they don't care about you. The fact is, no matter how you built this up in your head, your failures will not even come across as a blip on people's radar. So put yourself in their shoes. How many videos have you watched in the past few weeks? Now think, how many of those videos do you remember? You probably only remember the good videos that you got some value out of. But you probably watched a lot of shit videos along the way, but you don't remember them. You started watching a crap video, you swiped off it, then you never gave it another thought. It's so easy to build up this scenario in your head that people are going to judge you on your content and ridicule your failures. But in reality, the only things that people remember off the internet are things that they derive value from. If you publish a good video that delivers value and helps someone, they're going to remember that. They're going to remember the positives. But if you publish a low quality video that doesn't offer any value, then it's probably not going to get many views anyway. Those views it does get, they're just going to swipe off and never think about it again. So think about that. People only remember the positives. Nobody will care less about your failures. There's another side to this though, and that's worrying about what friends and family will think. And that's a lot more personal. That's a lot more close to home. And that again is totally normal. I still get that myself. I'm still uncomfortable filming content around my wife, but I'm happy to talk to a bunch of strangers on the internet. And again, it comes down to a fear of being judged. But being judged by strangers on the internet is nothing compared to being judged by the people closest to you, by your loved ones. So although it's perfectly normal to be worried about what friends and family think, you're probably doing the same thing in your head. You're over-exaggerating just how much they care about your videos. But if you're finding that worrying about friends and family and their opinions on your videos is stopping you from making content, then just make it anonymously. Set up a YouTube channel under an alias, publish videos to that channel, and don't tell anyone. The internet's a big place, YouTube is huge, no one's going to find you by accident. And even if they do, trust me, they really don't care. So the next trap I think a lot of us fall into, it's a bit of a sneaky one, you don't even notice it creeping up on you, and that's the type of content you're consuming and comparing yourself to others. And I think this feeds into a bit of imposter syndrome when you have an idea or a concept for a video, and the first thing you do is you start looking at other people who make similar types of content and seeing how they do it. Or you start following a lot of people who are in the similar niche to what you're making content about, and you start consuming their content and making comparisons and comparing yourself to them. And this can be a trap for a couple of reasons. Firstly, we tend to follow people who are bigger than us. So if you're a small YouTube creator with 50 subscribers and you're following people in your niche that have got 500,000 subscribers, those creators are way more ahead than you. They're far more ahead in the journey. So when you start comparing yourself to people who are 6 months, 2 years, or 5 years ahead of you in the game, you start feeling like you can't create content because you can't do it at that level. And that can feed into a cycle of imposter syndrome and stop you moving forward. The other thing which I think a lot of us are guilty of is that we start trying to emulate other creators that we see making it. I'm not saying don't look out for types of videos that are trending or doing well and then trying to lean into that. That's different. But as a creator, the only thing that's going to make you stand out from the crowd is you, is your personality, is your take, is the way you express information, the way you express yourself. And if you start consuming too much of other people's content and you start trying to emulate them, then you're not going to get that edge. The third content trap that I think a lot of us fall down, if not almost all of us fall down, is going down the YouTube education rabbit hole. So especially since COVID, content creation has exploded. There are thousands and thousands of new creators coming out trying to make it on the platform. And out of that, there's been born this industry of YouTube education. There are hundreds and thousands of videos out there telling you every single aspect of how to run your YouTube channel. From designing the perfect thumbnails to killer titles to how to craft your hooks to what length your videos should be to how you should set up your camera. You name it, there's a video out there that will tell you how to do it. Now, I'm not dumping on every YouTube education channel. I kind of do that here on this channel as well. But it's so easy, especially as a new content creator, before you've started honing your own craft, to fall down this rabbit hole of just spending all day watching educational videos, trying to improve your skills, trying to be more prepared for publishing your videos. And while there's nothing wrong with learning, if all you're doing is learning and you're never actually doing, then you're never going to get out of that trap. So while I think there are some core fundamental things that are probably useful to learn before you start publishing videos, like the very basics, like basic lighting, how to do a very basic thumbnail. Once you've got a rough understanding of these core pillars, just start making content. And you can still carry on learning and watching educational videos, but don't get lost in them. Learn while you're doing. We're sometimes conditioned to think that we need to learn every aspect of a craft before we start implementing it. And that's true for some things. You probably wouldn't want to go and drive a car without learning how to drive. And you wouldn't want to go and be an electrician or a gas engineer without properly learning how to do it first. But being a content creator is different. It's one of those skills that you can and should learn by doing. And the best way to learn as a content creator is by doing, is by making mistakes, by learning from those mistakes, iterating and improving each time. And no amount of YouTube educational videos or courses is going to give you that skill. It's a self-acquired skill. So while there are some fantastic resources out there for new creators, there's some great educational channels, just beware, it's so easy just to get lost in them and go down this rabbit hole of educational videos that you never come out from. And the final content trap, which I think a lot of people fall into, new creators as well as established creators continue to fall into, is perfectionism. Waiting for all the planets to align. You need the perfect gear, you need the perfect script, you need the perfect structure, everything must be perfect. It's so easy to start thinking that your next YouTube video must be a masterpiece, that it must be perfect. Whereas what you should be thinking is that each video that you produce is just a stepping stone to getting better before the next one. And like I say, I don't think it's just new creators that fall into this. I do it myself. I've been slipping into it since the beginning of this year, where I stopped creating content because I was stuck in my own head, overthinking everything, and I was waiting till I had the perfect plan for the perfect series of videos before I started publishing anything. And what did that produce? About 2 months of silence. So if you're sat there and you've been staring at a Notion page about a video idea that you've got for the last 3 weeks, and you've been tweaking titles and tweaking chapters, or you just don't want to start shooting that video yet because you just don't feel it's perfect, just do it. Perfection is the enemy of progress, and if you keep waiting for everything to be perfect, you're going to end up with nothing. And the more videos that you make, the more mistakes that you'll make, the more you'll learn, the more you'll improve, and the closer you'll get to perfection. Remember, Michelangelo painted a hell of a lot of paintings before he did the Sistine Chapel. So these are just some of the things that I think are the biggest things that can stop new creators in their tracks. And if you're on that journey, if you're just starting out, maybe you can identify with a couple of these. So just remember a couple of things. It doesn't matter if you suck. Sucking leads to improvement. It's good to suck. Secondly, nobody cares about your videos, especially if they suck. Remember, people only remember the good stuff. Thirdly, as a creator, you should be learning by doing. By all means, continue to watch YouTube educational videos, maybe even take courses. But while you're doing that, execute your craft. Learn and do at the same time. And remember, stop overthinking things and stop waiting for perfection, or you'll never paint your Sistine Chapel. I hope you've enjoyed these tips. I'm Craig. If you enjoyed this video, then consider watching this one next. Until the next time. Push it to the limit,